Okay, so this is totally just off the cuff and me talking about the things I'm learning about money. I recently got a book and it was talking about how money is just a reflection of how you feel about yourself. And I was like, whoa, I've never actually heard anyone say that before. And it was talking about, whatever you believe money to be is actually what you believe about yourself. So if you think that money is, well, I'm having a hard time saying what I'm trying to say. What I got out of it was I started thinking, yeah, that's exactly how I feel about money. Like, I'm doing pretty good, but I feel like money is not enough. And one of the core beliefs that I am working on right now is that I feel like I'm not enough in every sense. Like, I feel like no matter what I do, it's not good enough. And that goes way back to childhood and being raised by a very critical parent that, you got yelled at all the time for everything you did. And so you learned how to do things a very specific way and do it in a very perfectionist manner in order to not get yelled at. And you didn't even realize that what was happening. But then everything you did, everything that I did was achievement based because I felt unloved. And in order to feel loved, not even to feel loved, it was in order to not get yelled at, you had to do things well. And well was just a definition of how that parent wanted it done. So you had to follow directions exactly, whatever that parent wanted, that was doing it well. But that translated into everything I do must be done well for me to feel good enough. And this book was talking about your true connection to your eternal soul, your divine eternal soul. That is complete love, complete abundance, all there is. And everything outside of that is just an external factor that you're trying to replicate this connection to your soul that you currently don't have or you currently are blocking. And so when you're trying to do and create things from doing, that is blocking actually the receiving of who you truly are, which is abundance. Who you truly are is absolute abundance. Sorry for all the dogs barking, I'm outside. What you truly are in your soul is complete abundance and complete unconditional love. And so if you are trying to say that once I get a certain amount of money, I'll feel better about myself, or in my case, feeling like I needed to make a certain amount of money to feel valued. Like if I don't make a certain amount of money, I feel like I'm not contributing enough to the household income. And that makes me feel like a burden to the household. It makes me feel like I'm not doing a good enough job. It makes me feel like I'm not enough. And the truth of it is, my soul, my existence, my eternal existence is enough. But I'm trying to make all these things right now in this 3D world replace this lack of connection to my actual soul. And if I would work on just my connection to my soul, the more I'm connected, the more abundance flows. The abundance flows through me. But when I'm doing and I'm trying to get it done and I'm trying to force it, that is actually blocking the natural abundant flow that is just me naturally. It's like the life energy that makes the trees grow and the grass grow and the sunshine. Like, you can't force that to do better. It just is. And my life energy and my soul just is, but I block it with all this doing. It's like if you planted a seed in your garden and then every week you felt like you needed to be doing something, so you go dig it up and look at it and take score and see how much money did I make this week. And then you put it back in the ground. And then the next week you go dig it up and look at it and keep score. Like, how much money did I make this week? It's not allowing the natural flow of life to work because I'm in there doing something and digging it up. And that's not to say that you shouldn't be doing anything, but when you're connected, like if I take time to just meditate, first of all, so meditation can just be sitting in silence. Just sitting in silence and realizing that when you have all these thoughts go through your mind, they're just thoughts, but they are not you. You are the person who is observing those thoughts. You are the person who is the awareness of the thoughts. And sitting in silence allows you to connect to the part of you that is the eternal soul that is beyond just this limited person that you are right now. It allows you to connect to like the infinite field of possibilities where all the answers are, where all of the ideas are, where if you've ever read a lot of like biographies or stuff, the greatest inventors would all of a sudden get an idea or solve a problem of an invention they were working on. They would like get the solution in the middle of the night while they were sleeping, and they would wake up and write down the solution. It was like all of a sudden the information was there to solve their equation because all that information is out there in the infinite field of possibilities. It's all there. Like, time exists forwards and backwards. All time is now. Like, you have access to everything right now. So when you are connected and you're sitting in stillness and you stop trying to figure out what to do, you actually open yourself up to receive ideas, like $1 million ideas. And I've actually had this happen quite a lot to me, where when I'm just sitting in the stillness, something will pop into my head that I wasn't thinking anything about prior to that. And then you have to take an action. Then you have to do inspired action on that idea. Like, you can't just sit there and not do anything. You kind of have to follow through with what that idea gave you. But those ideas don't happen when we're trying to force. And I think a lot of people can resonate with the fact that, like, let's say you lost something and you've been looking for it, and you're looking and you just can't rack your brain about where this is. And then you're in the shower later or in the bathtub and you're just completely relaxed. And all of a sudden it comes into your mind where it is. Or all of a sudden you get an idea. You get your best ideas in the shower, right? Because you're relaxed and you're in a receiving mode. So today I had the realization that focusing on the money portion not being what I want it to be, which makes me feel like a burden to my household. The real issue is that I don't feel enough just as I am, which means I'm not connected enough to my source, like my soul, the source of all that is. And so what I really need to work on is my connection, not what do I need to do. I need to work on opening the flow of abundance by getting out of the way all the things, like getting out of the way of the doing, getting out of the way obsessing over it, getting out of the way all this stuff. And I actually had the realization today that if you have an attachment to it, it's like it must go for you to realize you don't need it because it's outside of you. And everything that you need is inside of you. And your soul is complete. You're complete without money. Like, everybody knows if you die, you don't take the money with you. Like, you're not taking your house with you. You're not taking your bank account with you. That soul, who you are after death, that's the real you. And you're stopping the flow to it if you're not allowing yourself to be connected to it here in the now while you're in the body. And what I realized was not having the income I want is exactly what I need to teach myself to let go of that attachment and learn how to be feeling good enough about myself, even if I never have enough. Like, even if I never make the money that I want to make. Because it doesn't have to do with my doing. Like, my essence being loved does not have to do with my doing. And so my pattern that I'm trying to break is this pattern that I've had since childhood, where I must do, and achieve in order to feel good enough. And by not having the money that I think that I should be making, it's forcing me to look at, okay, where is my connection not good enough to my soul? And I need to focus on that. And this is like a whole real new realization that money is just a reflection of what I believe about myself. So as long as I'm believing about myself that I am not good enough, money is just going to reflect that. So I know a lot of people will say you have to be the abundance that you want. You have to be. And I understand that sort of. But I guess this book where it was talking about money is just reflecting how you actually feel about yourself. I was like, whoa, yeah, I understand that. Like, I feel like money is pretty good, but I always want it better. And so I feel like it's not good enough. It's not quite enough. And like, that's exactly how I feel about me personally. Like, me not being enough. So that's just where I am right now. So I may be making some more videos in the future. My affirmations may be a little bit pivoting as far as not necessarily being the repetitious amounts of money, but more about me being the abundance, like without it. Like, me being the abundance no matter what. Me being the abundance no matter what I have coming in the door that week or that month or that day. It's really interesting. When I started doing the affirmation videos, I was in a place where all of a sudden I learned about, positive affirmations, and I really recognized how much I had negative chatter going on in my life. Like, at the time, that is exactly what I needed. And I manifested a ton of stuff just based on the affirmations. Like, I used to say all the time, every time I leave the house, I find money. And every time I would leave the house, I would find money. Like, everywhere I went, there was money on the ground. And I would say all the time, I always receive checks in the mail. And there was like checks coming in the mail all the time. And at that place in my life, that was a significant improvement for me to go from having all of this negative chatter going on in my mind all the time to actually realizing that what I'm thinking matters. Like what I'm thinking is creating these circumstances around me. And I feel like now I've progressed to the point where I'm going beyond. Like I'm now going to, okay, you got the basics down. We need to work on what is your actual connection to source? What is your actual connection to the eternal being that you are? Like, what are you blocking? And all the doing and all the striving and all the trying to figure it out is actually blocking your ability to receive. It's like the flow is constantly coming, but I'm holding up an umbrella blocking it. And so all the doing I'm trying to do and all the efforting and all the I have to make it happen, which is a trained pattern from my childhood, I am now recognizing, okay, that's the pattern of me feeling not loved and feeling like I had to do and achieve in order to feel loved. And I'm now at the point where I need to just find out what it feels like to be loved and be love without any effort, without any doing, without any achievement. And that only comes from your connection to yourself, your connection to your soul, your connection to God, your connection to the universe, whatever you want to call it, the connection to the eternal part of you, the part of you that exists even when you die, like the part of you that's not taking the money with you. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, what I'm working on. Leave a comment below if any of this resonated with you. I literally just hit record to just kind of blurt out my thoughts and have a record of it, because this is where I am in the journey right now.